If you feel like you're playing the same licks and phrases over and over and getting trapped in the same scale boxes, today's lesson will help you break out of that and start playing with a fresh new approach. We're going to look at two simple guitar patterns that immediately open up the neck and make your playing sound more musical. By the end of today's lesson, you'll have brand new phrasing ideas you can plug straight into your solos. These patterns are called the diagonal minor pentatonic and the diagonal major pentatonic. They're incredibly simple, but so many guitarists overlook them, and it's a big mistake. I've covered these before, but I'm covering them again because so many of my students over the past 30 years have dramatically changed their playing for the better by using these simple shapes. By the way, if you're just getting started with your soloing journey, grab my free Beginner Soloist Handbook. It's loaded with scales, arpeggios, and other resources so you have it all in one place. You'll find the link in the description below. Make sure to also check out my new course, The Musical Way to Solo. In the course, we look into how to better use pentatonics and simple arpeggios to get you soloing with confidence even if you're a beginner. There's an incredible Black Friday special running for only a few days, so be sure to check that out in the description below as well. Now regarding pentatonics, the standard minor pentatonic box is where almost everyone begins, in this shape right here. Now there's nothing wrong with it, it works, but since it's used so often, players end up sounding the same and repeating the same ideas. And let's be honest, you probably never will connect it to those other four pentatonic shapes that are on the fretboard. You tend to stay landlocked right here in this small area of the neck. Now there are some guitarists who'll try to learn all 5 pentatonic box shapes. That's fine too, but here's the thing. When you can cover the entire fretboard with just one repeating pattern, why juggle 5 different ones? That's where diagonal shapes come in. They're easier to learn, easier to move, and way more musical as a result. Now the minor pentatonic has 5 notes. The first, which is the root, the flat third, the fourth, the fifth, and the flat 7. The diagonal version takes those same notes and lays them out in a simple 2-3 pattern across 2 strings. Let me show you that pattern. We'll begin down here on the 6th string and play the 3rd fret, followed by the 5th fret. The second note of the shape is the root of this minor pentatonic. So that's the first 2 notes, and that's the first 2 notes of the 2-3 pattern. Then you go to the string below, and you play the 3 notes of the 3 pattern. So in this case, C, D, and E. So the whole thing looks like this. And that's it. That is the 5-note pattern. Then you just copy and paste the octaves thereof. So we'll begin with the one we just learned. And then on the 4th string, you do the exact same pattern. 2 notes, followed by 3 notes. The exact same shape. Then, for the final octave here, you do shift up a half step because of the tuning difference on the guitar. You'll have to do that with any sort of shape where you learn it this way. 2 notes, followed by 3 notes. Here's all 3 of those together. And that's it. That's the 5 notes of the minor pentatonic repeated over and over again as you copy and paste up the neck diagonally. The beauty is you're not memorizing 5 separate giant 6-string patterns, just one tiny 2-3 pattern that repeats over and over. That makes it easy to visualize, easy to connect, and easy to use anywhere. So let's hear it over an A minor centered chord progression. It goes from A minor to F to C and then G. But let's just try the middle portion here. I'm only going to play those 5 fret positions and give it a try. that it worked very well and I only used those 5 fret positions. But that actually just made it much easier for me to listen to what I'm jamming over. Sometimes when you focus on too large of patterns, you lose track of where you are and it's hard to play the best note choices. It can sound rambling and haphazard. But in this case, I was focused on just these 5 fret positions, which gave me a chance to listen to the music better and therefore make better note choices. Let's say you've become very comfortable with this pattern. Then let's try to connect it to the next pattern that we copy and paste above it. So we'd play this one first, and our next one's right here. Exact same shape, so I'm better able to visualize it. Let's try that over our track. As you can hear, that gave me more choices, but I was still able to keep things pretty simple and land on the notes that were matching the chord tones going by. You want to try to give a good amount of your attention to the track you're playing over, and that will cause you to make those better decisions with your notes. If you try to pack in too many notes into what you're playing, it can lose its musicality, so take your time with this process and the payoff will be worth it. Now for the major pentatonic. It's made up of the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 6th. Now the diagonal version is just as simple, but this time it's inverted. It's a 3-2 pattern. So the pattern looks like this if I played it off the C. 3 notes, followed by 2. And you'll notice the big difference between the major version and the minor version is, in the major we actually begin right on the root. We don't have to go a whole step behind it like we did with the minor version. So the major version is 3 notes, followed by 2. Then we do the exact same pattern right below it, so 3 notes, followed by 2. Adjust for the tuning difference, 3 notes, followed by 2. All together. Now this one is just as easy to memorize and sounds very major and upbeat. And what I would do is try to understand 1 octave first, then expand from there, much like we did with the minor version. Now you can use this over a single chord like C major, and it will sound great. But you can also use it over the key of C major, which may have other chords in there in the song that you're jamming over. So let's play an example over C major. Just like the minor pentatonic, it's just as easy to use anywhere. You just find your root note of the major key you want to play over, and you can play your 3-2 pattern right there beginning on the root. So if I wanted to start on this C, I could. It's right there for C major. That makes it easy for you to move around the neck and try different areas. And one of the cool features about these diagonal pentatonics is our brains are focused on that simple 5-note pattern, and that causes you to intuitively limit your note choices. So you're not running up and down 6-string scale boxes, and your playing stops sounding as scaly and starts to sound much more musical. You naturally focus more on bends and slides and rhythm and phrasing, the things that actually make solos sound more musical. Now you can apply this idea of less is more to arpeggios. There are some super simple patterns that many players tend to overlook, but could be used for soloing and even more. I recently made a video about those, and you can check it out right here.